Mm. I never thought I was going to do a zombie film until I had the idea to do this. So I was just a fan. I remember it was very difficult growing up in Cuba to watch horror films. And one of the first films I had was Evil Dead, which is not a zombie film per se, but when I was 8 years old, it was for me, and it still is. So after that, I think that was the second film I ever owned. So yeah, I had to see everything. And I remember when I was at film school, all my friends were watching all the films that you're supposed to watch at film school, like all the Bergmans, Tarkovsky, and all that. And I was watching all the films that I watched as a kid because that was the reason why I was there, and I wanted to see if I still had that feeling, and I did. And so yeah, that's why I want to keep doing it. Thank you. I'm behaving after only 3 whiskeys. I can't drive, right?
How about some questions from you guys? You want to raise your hands? You got one? Right there.
Oh, that was 20 years ago. But yes.
Could everyone hear the question?
No, wait. Here's the thing. I think if this hadn't been a zombie film, I couldn't have said all the things that I said here. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it as a zombie film. I mean, usually zombie films have always have a social subtext, and I wanted to do 2 things at once. Do a zombie film because I love them, and talk about some things that I see around me in Cuba. And it was the perfect excuse, because when the people that had to read the screenplay and all that, they were like, this could have another meaning. I was like, no, it's a zombie film. How do you mean another meaning? So yeah, you have to get permits and all that, but you can. I mean, if you get to know them, censors are very square people. It's easy to get around them. No reporters here, right? Please don't tweet that. Don't say that I say that. Don't get me in trouble. Actually, no zombies were harmed, but we actually had real zombies. The first time we took our zombies to the street, it was in the scene where they were in the scene with the wheelchair, and one of the zombies actually bit the skin of the guy's arm, and we hired him for another 3 scenes.
Another question?
Come on, having fun, please. Questions?
Right there, in the middle.
It's a wonderful movie, and thank you for bringing it. I've waited twice to see it, and I had to even work out an arrangement to sit here with my friends, as you know. But I want to ask you, is it going to have an American release, and work that out?
First, the guys that couldn't make it to the screening, I saw them later, and well, I tried to buy them a drink, but they were at the filmmakers' lunch, so it was free. But I really apologize about all that. Yes, it will have a distribution here. It's coming out on VOD on August 14. Focus is doing the distribution. And there's also a very small theatrical release taking place. Actually, it's playing in the 21st, but I don't know the name of the place. It's Silent something. I don't know.
Not to mention a different place. Cinefamily. It's called the Silent Movie Theater.
Okay. Yeah. It's like a good place because I was told it was a good place. Yeah. Well, it's screening there on Thursday, and then it's screening here again on Saturday night. They just confirmed the third screening, and then you'll be able to buy it on VOD on August 14 or DVD or whatever and all that. Yeah.
Audience?
Yeah, Ray, I'm curious, what did you shoot it on? Question number 1. Question number 2, what's your next project?
I've been drinking. I can only ask once. Answer once. No, we shot it with Red One cameras. We had a very good DOP, Spanish DOP. He has made very good Spanish films. He made Alex de la Iglesia's first film, Acción Mutante. And and he was the only one that could scream at me on the set. He did it all the time. And the next film, you never know which one the next is going to be. I'm writing some things right now. I'm reading some scripts, and I haven't had much time to write because of the festivals, but it's definitely going to be a horror film. I still don't know if adventure horror or I think it will be horror.
I mean, speaking of writing, I'm curious with Juan of the Dead. Do you remember, like, what was the first scene or character that you came up with that went on and became the whole film?
Juan?
Film?
Yeah, I was talking with my director and my producer, and I saw someone on the street that really looked like a zombie. We had lots of real-life zombies in Cuba after all these years of revolution. I saw someone that looked like a zombie, and I just said to him, we could make a film with people like this one, and we wouldn't even need makeup, and we could just call it Juan of the Dead. And as soon as I said that, I was like, you know what? That's going to be the next one. And I based the character on my brother Juan. And there are lots of scenes there that are based in my brother's life. Like, he's the one on the raft, he's the one jumping to the neighbor's balcony. Actually, in real life, he had to jump to the next building. But we couldn't find two buildings that were together and were safe enough to do that on the film. And he was the one that put the money on his son so the police wouldn't stop him. He was the one climbing the building. I changed some characters. Yeah, there's lots, my brother. There's some embarrassing stuff that I won't even mention. And so, yeah, when I thought about my brother, I thought about the actor, Alexis de Villegas, and I wrote the script thinking about him, and when I first saw him, I sent the script to him. He loved it, and when we first tried the costumes on him, when I first saw him, I was like, it was like he was taken out of my head and put in front of me. It was great. What else? Question? Come on.
A few more.
Come on.
Red shirt, up right there.
Una pregunta. Tengo que lo sepa la gente cubana con la más fanática.
Habla en inglés, por favor, para ellos.
Okay, so if I know Cuban people are probably the biggest film fans in the world. If you could talk a little bit about how the film was received in Cuba, especially given the social commentary.
It was great. The first screening we had, there were lots of expectations because nothing like that had been done before in Cuba. The film premiered at the Havana Film Festival in December. After doing many festivals, there was a lot of press. Everyone knew I was shooting that because it was a huge crew. There were heads all over the place. People actually called the police twice while we were shooting. Our first screening in Havana, there were 15,000 people outside the theater trying to get in. It was amazing. There were 4 police trucks with dogs throwing peppers, on the people. It was, and the bad thing is that I can't remember because I got drunk. When I saw that, I was so nervous because people were coming to the theater with tears in their eyes, telling me the film better be good. You have so many people saying that, and I had to get drunk. And you don't do Q&A, so I didn't have to. Because in Cuba, you never do Q&As because you never know what someone's going to ask. If someone's going to grab the microphone and shout, "Oh, that was good" or something. So I could get drunk. And I did, and I barely remember, but I remember it was something amazing. Or so I was told.
Couple more? Wind things up. Right up here in front.
Considering the genre, you didn't shoot any scenes in El Cementerio de Colón. Was it a religious thing?
Everyone uses the cemetery for other films. It was kind of on the nose. Yeah, it's beautiful, but it was too on the nose. Look, come on. I'm warming up here.
What? Right there. Take us out. Last question. What? Oh, you can do more. You want to do more?
I can, yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm down.
There are a lot of really intense scenes with a lot of physical stuff and combat and fights and that sort of thing. How detailed was the choreography to prepare for those, and was storyboarding part of that process?
Are you really asking me that question? I hated my choreographer. Please, don't read that. I hated my choreographer. It was very difficult. I mean, he was a Spanish choreographer. All the head of department, it's a Spanish co-production, all the head of departments were from Spain. And it wasn't only the choreographer, it was, in Cuba there are, I don't know if they have that here, I suppose, because you have unions for everything. There was this stunt group, and the chief of all the stunt people, stuntmen, he was this really obnoxious guy. He was even worse than I am. And every time we had those scenes, it was hell for me. Actually, he's 3 times in the film. I mean, I know he's 3 times over there, and I killed him the 3 times, and I made sure that was on the screen, because that was painful. And on the other hand, all the practical effects, it was the first time that all the people in Cuba did that. So every time that we had some practical effects, they would go wrong. And not wrong in a nice way. Like, really wrong. We almost impaled the actor in the last scene. The somebody that got impaled. Yeah, that thing didn't go down when he first landed there. Yeah. Well, it was fun for us to see. But you know, yeah, we had this Spanish choreographer. Well, the sequence where they are dancing, that was done by dancers. I had a couple of dancers teaching the zombies how to move, and they did that one. But well, all the rest was this Spanish choreographer, Javier.
What about with your effects? I mean, how did you approach things, figuring out when you were going to use a practical effect versus some CGI?
The production will tell me what was too expensive. I mean, it's Cuba. You know, they don't have too much experience doing practical effects. Some things were better to do in CGI, and sometimes we didn't have money to do that, so we had to go practical, and it wouldn't work, and then it would have to be fixed on post-production, so it would end up costing double anyway. And all the big scenes were storyboarded by the guy that also did the credit sequence, which I loved. I don't know, you just figure things out. I always wanted bigger, and they were telling me smaller, and you have to compromise, and yeah, you end up doing it anyway.
Right here, up front.
Well, before you say that, good story. That's one of the bad things about doing a co-production. It was a Spanish co-production, so I was supposed to have some Spanish crew, Spanish actors, and all that. I'm not complaining about the actor I had because he was great, but you know, when I wrote the part, I was hoping to get a cameo by George Romero or something like that, which I thought was going to be the coolest thing in the world. And the Spanish producers didn't bother to fight. They told me we couldn't get in touch with him. I think they didn't even try because they needed a Spanish actor. So, well, the plan. Okay. You're not going to get the plan. I mean, it's a very Cuban thing. When Castro and all his comrades first arrived in Cuba to start the revolution, they arrived on a boat. And that boat is still on a museum in Havana. And so the plan of this guy was to steal that boat and use it to leave. I couldn't have gotten away with that. It was better to kill the character first.
Alright, we'll go you and then you. Go.
I just want to say, I watch a movie at least once a week, and this is the one that I find the most easier and awesome.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. So you're my designated driver? I was hoping to get someone better looks.
heard a lot of people. I was watching the movie. In fact, this is a Latin American film. I'm from Latin America. I'm watching cool, just great and blah blah blah. And then I see a lot of people running for the camera.
Blah 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 is very hard to do.
How do you get,
We had only, well, it's not only, we had 300 zombies in the biggest scene. If you've ever done a film like this, 300 zombies, it's a lot. The rest was CGI. And also it was very difficult because since the real life zombies in Cuba are all people, I wanted the extras to be all people. It's very difficult because, you had 300 zombies, some people are in makeup at 1 a.m. to shoot in the next afternoon. And we had like 80 years old in makeup as zombies, waiting for more than 12 hours. And I'm not even sure if they knew what they were doing, but they just put their heart in it, and I really appreciate all that. So the other one was one here and right here? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for my ignorance, but the building that was blocking out the sun, and it got blown up?
Yeah, I know. Your ignorance is excused. I wanted to destroy all the buildings that are known in Havana. That's, I think, the tallest building in Havana, and I live right in front of it, and it blocks the sun. I can't see the sun. So when I was told which building, I said, that one.
What building is it?
It's called Fox. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a big building right in front of my house.
So it was a grudge.
And we actually shot in that building, and there was this bar in that building where we would go to get drunk. If you're doing films, you don't do that, okay? You obviously don't do that in LA. But well, some people that were working in the film would go there to get drunk, not me. And we made very good friends with bartenders and all that, and after they saw the film, they were like, "You killed us." Yeah, that's how life is.
All right, last question right there.
Last one.
Congratulations on a very interesting movie. I saw that main guy in zombie was Castro. What happened after he wasn't in the movie, or why did you contemplate getting Castro?
Did anyone plant this question? Yeah, of course I did. Look, this was a very big argument while we were doing film post-production. Obviously, I contemplated including women. I'm doing a zombie film in Cuba, political commentary. Of course, I can't even tell you where he was, because at one point he was there. But it's first of all, in Cuba, it's against the law to do that. So if I had done that, I would probably be in jail now, not here. And that was part of the big argument. And actually, the first time the film screened at the Toronto Film Festival, that was the first question I was asked, and that's why I'm asking if it was planned, because I said, of course I thought about using him, and that was the headline of all the newspapers in Miami the following day, and everyone was really upset in Cuba. But yeah, I did, and I took him out. It was actually the last shot of the film, of the comic, and I had to take him out because, well, I want to keep doing films.
Well, we're glad you did, because now you're here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
And please vote, because I can.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.